It is my great honor to present to you the graduates of Arlington High School's class of 2019. Please rise, if you are able, for the presenting of the colors by the Arlington Police Department Honor Guard. Please remain standing for the playing of our national anthem. Please be seated. Thank you to our bagpiper, Mr. Hamish Blackman, the Arlington Police Department Honor Guard, and our wonderful band conducted by Mr. Tino D'Agostino. Our senior band members will now proceed to their seats. They are Julian Carpenter, Alex Colty, Lila Cooperson-Vuick, Catherine Davey, Sam Goldstein, Max Hannon, Julia Hazen, Hikaru Koga, Chance Philbin, Nicholas Riley, Abby Simon, Racer Suarez, Nydia Sampuram, Hannah Summers, and Alexandra C. I would also like to take a moment to thank our graduation coordinator, Ms. Joanna Began, and the many staff and student volunteers without whom this ceremony would not be possible. On behalf of our Superintendent of Schools, Kathy Bodie, Principal Matthew Janger, the school committee, our entire administrative team and faculty, I'm honored to welcome everyone to the graduation exercises for Arlington High School's class of 2019. To the parents, guardians, and family members, you must be very proud of your graduates today. And on behalf of every graduating student, I congratulate you and thank you for trusting us, the Arlington Public Schools, to educate your children. To our teachers, thank you for your outstanding work with this class. You have served as mentors, motivators, leaders, caretakers, and friends. You have supported, encouraged, and inspired our students, and we are all truly grateful to you. And most importantly, congratulations, class of 2019. Today, we gather to honor you and to celebrate your accomplishments. You have been a wonderful group of students to work with, and we wish you all a future that is filled with both success and happiness. Now I'm honored to present to you our principal, Dr. Matthew Janger.
Good afternoon. This one working? There we go. We've already said thanks a couple times, but I'm going to say it again. Welcome to the 153rd annual graduation ceremony for Arlington High School. That's right. Thank you to the teachers, students, and parents for making this happen. Thanks to our administrators, Mr. DiLoretto, Mr. McKnight, Ms. Tivnan, and Mr. McCarthy for keeping this place together. Thank you to the teacher volunteers who put in extra time to make this graduation run. Special thanks to Carolyn Simmons for the weeks of overtime she put in to get the lists right. And please, not for the last time, a round of applause for Ms. Began, who has taken on AHS graduation as her personal mission. By the way, she had these made special. Every year when we listen to the graduation speeches, students mention this building. They talk about the challenges of its maze-like corridors. They talk about the stairways to nowhere. And they talk about the crumbling everything. They have celebrated the relationships that we have built there. But each year at this time, the halls and homes we have been longing to leave suddenly become precious. How many students have thought this year, I cannot wait to get out of high school? How many have thought, I can't wait to be on my own? How many of you parents have felt the same? And yet, how many students have had moments of nostalgia, fear, anxiety, panic about your next stage of life? Parents, on Monday morning when I drove to school and the exams were done, I had something in my eyes and something in my nose, and how many of you are going to be crying today? This is part of the process of leaving home, of leaving the nest. Students have been building their independence and their friendships to help them leave for 4 years, to make them want to leave. But now we take stock of what has been important and what we value. We see it in the symbols of school colors, jerseys, buildings, robes, yearbooks. But what matters are the values, the knowledge, the memories, and the relationships that you will take away. As a community, we are talking about a new school building, and we wonder about the school we remember. This is a symbol of what we value about Arlington. Every summer, I worry about being ready for the fall, and then I remind myself what truly makes a school. The students, the teachers, need to show up in the right rooms, prepared to talk about the same topic. Students, teachers, and materials together in a community. That's what makes Arlington High School. In my office, I have a photo from 1866 of the first teachers and students of Arlington High. Back in those days, it was still Cotting High School, and the neighborhood was still West Cambridge. It was only a few years later that we actually became Spy Ponders. 50 years later, they would move to this site, and the school has continued for over 150 years. Every year, I remind you that Arlington is one of the best high schools in one of the best public school systems in the world. If Massachusetts were a country, it would rank among the top countries. You are ready to graduate. It's time to leave home knowing how much we care and how sorry and how ready we are for you to leave. We love you, and we will always be here. Thank you.
It is my pleasure to present Julia Alessi, Student Council Treasurer. Julia will announce the Elementary and Middle School Faculty Awards of Appreciation.
The class of 2019 would like to recognize the following elementary and middle school teachers for their guidance on our path to graduation. Thank you for your devotion to furthering our education. We couldn't have done it without you. From Bishop School, Alyssa Frank. From Brackett School, Colleen Gorman. From Dallin School, Adrian DiPasquale. From Hardy School, Laurie Johnstone. From Stratton School, Janice Satlack-Mott. From Thompson School, Siobhan Foley. And from Ottoson Middle School, Nanta Hardesty. Thank you for all your hard work, teachers.
Thank you, Julia. It is my pleasure to introduce the chair of the Arlington School Committee, Mr. Leonard Carden.
Thank you, Mr. McKnight. On behalf of the Arlington School Committee and everyone in Arlington, I would like to congratulate the 2019 graduates of Arlington High School. Whether you have been here since kindergarten or have joined since, Arlington will always be a part of you now as you become Arlington High School graduates. With more than 40,000 people, Arlington is far from a small town, yet I'm constantly amazed to find so many overlapping circles and connections that make Arlington a friendly and cohesive community. And one of the biggest threads weaving Arlington together is the steadfast support for our public schools. 9 years ago, when these graduates were about to enter 4th grade, the community came together to raise over $600,000 in 6 weeks to save weekly art, music, gym, and other important programs. Time and again, the greater Arlington community has come together to support our schools and our students. On June 11th, Arlington will once again have the chance to show it. On behalf of the Arlington School Committee, thank you, Arlington, for the steadfast support of our students and schools. Of course, you, the class of 2019, have given back to Arlington through your community service hours and student-run events like the Relay for Life and Scoopermania. And just 2 days ago, over $600,000 in community scholarships were presented to this year's graduating class. That is what a strong community is all about. I hope that the class of 2019 will find strong, supportive communities similar to Arlington as you journey through life. Arlington is very proud of you. Congratulations.
It is my pleasure to introduce Arlington's Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Kathleen Bodie.
Likewise, I would like to, on behalf of the Arlington Public School community, I want to congratulate each of you today on your graduation. This is a special day for you. It is also a special day for the community of people who have supported you, taught and guided you, and cheered you on over these past 4 years, and the years in middle and elementary school. It is a particularly special day for your parents who proudly look on and who have loved and supported you from your very first day. You have recognized teachers from each school for their special influence in your lives. I also want to acknowledge and thank these teachers, as well as all of the teachers, administrators, and staff in our schools for their dedication to your well-being and education. Many of them are here today to again show you how much they care about you. And they will be happy to know that next year, nearly 95% of your class will pursue further education. As a class, you have shined for many years. You have formed deep friendships. You've enjoyed being together, which makes today particularly poignant. Linda Buckley, one of your guidance counselors, said that you are a class that is not only driven, but caring individuals who look beyond your own interest to the best interests of others in your class and community. And that you have a wonderful spirit of cooperation and collaboration with teammates, classmates, teachers, and friends. Qualities that live forward will change for the world for the better and earn each of you very fulfilled and happy lives. Over these last 4 years, you have distinguished yourself in many ways. Among you are national merit recognized scholars, advanced placement scholars, art gold and silver key awardees, accomplished athletes who with teammates qualified for postseason competition many times this year, becoming Middlesex League champions in softball, cross country, boys soccer, wrestling, girls, and boys hockey. As well as, I might add, a Super 8 championship during your years here in Arlington. Among you are much admired and awarded musicians who have entertained and inspired us with your concerts, as today, and this spring's spectacular Pops concert. You have taken college-level courses, MOOCs, and participated in the internship program, have been model UN delegates, high-achieving mathematicians, computer scientists who qualified for nationals this year, budding scientists, applauded actresses and actors who brought us professional quality plays and musicals. This year, one-act plays, Macbeth, and Me and My Girl. You have been community service activists, including your green team that helped win Arlington Public School national recognition by the U.S. Department of Education for our efforts in making our schools green. You've been best buddies, participated in the Real Life for Life. You have built gardens, cleaned the Aberjona and community spaces, worked in food pantries, and tutored other students. You have demonstrated your understanding of global citizenship by accomplishing the requirements for the Seal of Biliteracy and the requirements for global competency certification. And you have traveled extensively. Japan, South Africa, Poland, Italy, Spain, the Netherlands, Croatia, Ireland, France, Scotland, and Canada, and I'm not sure I've got them all. You honed your leadership skills on the Student Council, Captain's Council United Voices, Club 84 for Tobacco Prevention, Gender and Sexuality Alliance, Yearbook, Black Students Union, and as leaders in nearly 60 other clubs in the high school. Your contributions to your school and community are many. As educators, we talk about enduring understandings. One of the important understandings we hope will endure for years, from your years in the Arlington Public Schools, is this. Giving of yourself in service to others not only enriches your own life, but the lives of everyone around you. We hope that you will continue to give yourself in service to others in both small and big ways, and to live your life in a way that inspires others. So in closing, know as you are leaving us that we are very proud of the many accomplishments and service to our school and our community. Most of all, we are proud of the young adults you have become. So best wishes to all of you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Bodie. Now, our Madrigal singers and rhythm section will perform When Your Mind Is Made Up, arranged by Senior Ben Horsberg.
then I'll come running to fight. And I'll be at your door when it's all gone, and not running for when your mind's made up. When your mind's made up, there's no point in trying to change it. When your mind's made up, when your mind's made up, there's no point in even stopping.
You see, you're just like everyone. When it all falls, all you want to do is run away and hide all by yourself from this forefront. There's nothing else when your mind's made up. When your mind's made up, there's no point trying to change it. When your mind's made up, when your mind's made up, there's no point in even talking. When your mind's made up, when your mind's made up, there's no point trying to fight it. When your mind, your mind. There's no point trying to change it. There's no point trying to change it. When your So, if you ever want something and you call, then I'll come running. Good stuff.
Thank you to our Madrigal singers, directed this year by Ms. Madeline Kitchen and Mr. Justin Moore. The senior Madrigal members are Rafi Barglow, Olivia Carpenter, Joseph Dalton, Will Davis Kay, Nirja Deshpande, Ben Horsberg, Eleanor Leto, Venice Mountainzona, Alma Olson, Annie Schoonmaker, Isabella Skopetsky, Miles Shapiro, Tony Wortman, and Devin Wright. And they were accompanied by seniors Julian Carpenter and Sam Goldstein. It is now my pleasure to present Neil Tracy, President of the Class of 2019.
Every elementary school kid in Arlington has to, at some point, go to the Jason Russell House. If you are a 9-year-old boy, you don't care about the colonial lifestyle or furniture. Only one thing was of significance to me: the bullet holes. I have a vivid memory of being a young child on a tour at the Jason Russell House. I still can smell the old wood in the dry heat. Every step that the adults around me took sent a creaking tremor through the old mansion. But Being light and young, I was able to sneak away from the tour that I'd found myself stuck on. I remember standing on my tiptoes, pressed up tight against the historic wall, sticking my fingers into the bullet hole and twisting them around, feeling every grain in the old wood. I stood there marveling at that simple testament to a revolution long past. Arlington is not a passive town. We are a town of action. And Arlington's class of 2019 is not a passive community. We are a class of revolutionaries. We went through high school together in an age when the very worst of humanity is constantly thrown at us through a 24/7 news cycle. And yet, today we come together and are not afraid. We are not afraid because we know the secret that has been passed down to us that, as Russell would put it, a man's home is his castle. The class of 2019 is part of a legacy begun by revolutionaries like Russell. A legacy that teaches that revolutions start small, by individuals who declare that their home is their castle and make a difference in their immediate communities. One of my favorite revolutionaries is Mr. Foley. Mr. Foley is maybe 5'2". Mr. Foley is around here somewhere. Mr. Foley is maybe 5'2" and maybe 130 pounds. He could be a student at the Audison, but for his hair loss. Every day, for the past 3 years I've had Mr. Foley, when I walk into his classroom, invariably late, I'm greeted by a brilliant smile, a hello, and a thank goodness, Neil's here. Mr. Foley is a revolutionary who declares that his classroom is his castle. He declares that no matter what CNN, Fox, or NPR are reporting, decency and human compassion will be alive in his classroom. The class of 2019 knows what it means to be revolutionaries. Each of us have learned from models like Mr. Foley. We have learned from the history enshrined in the monuments around us. We have learned from our teachers, from the classics we read, from conversations about history, race, and politics. We have learned through dedication on teams, on stages, and in concerts. We have learned by sticking our fingers into the bullet holes of Arlington and realizing, with a faith that leaves no room for doubt, that the revolutionaries of Arlington live today. We are privileged to be part of a legacy of revolutionary love and are called to be messengers of decency. We are not afraid because we know that wherever we go next year, the children of Arlington will declare that our home is our castle and that, wherever our new home may be, only unconditional compassion will be permitted. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. It is now my pleasure to introduce Lucy Voges, the president of the 2018-2019 Student Council.
There are a number of milestones that come with aging. Growing up in Arlington, a big one for me was joining the Arlington List. As a kid, I remember many of the adults and older kids in my life referencing the List, a social media platform that connects Arlington residents and other surrounding towns. But it never interested me much until it became relevant to me for student council purposes. When I first joined, I was using it to publicize events to the community, and it was a helpful resource to have insight into what was going on in the town. Every once in a while, there would be a conflict, but it was usually benign and quickly resolved. The older I got and the more time I spent on social media and the List, I realized how similar many of the adults living in Arlington were to the kids. We had similar problems and questions and got into similar arguments over similar things. People overreact no matter how old they get. More recently, I have seen an increase in this behavior. The List is meant to be free of politics, as are many things in life. But lately, there has been a great deal of political conflict on the website. During high school, Dr. Janger's weekly declarations over the morning announcements have taught me, among other things, that the divisiveness caused by the political discourse we see today is not healthy. Arlington at times feels extremely homogeneous, and at others feels, politically at least, to be filled with an assortment of people. Going off into the world next year, I'll be truly leaving the Arlington bubble for the first time, and I'm worried. Will my political views polarize me from my new friends? Will I enter a similar bubble and remain isolated for the rest of my life? I encourage us all, whether starting a new chapter in our lives or not, to remember that politics are important. They can be indicators of many things about a person and should not be overlooked or ignored. But there are things in life, like the list, that do not involve politics. And I hope that as we grow older and continue to get into similar arguments over similar things, we can remember that.
Thank you, Lucy. It is my pleasure to present Issa Dre, Vice President of the Student Council. Issa will introduce our faculty speaker.
Our next speaker is a member of the Arlington High School faculty and community, Mr. Marten. Mr. Marten is a highly regarded English teacher who works hard to build community and foster critical thinking in his classrooms and in our school. In the words of one of his students, Mr. Marten taught me more than just how to be a better writer. He taught me how to believe in myself. He showed me that I am capable of more than I give myself credit for. Mr. Marten is known for taking the time to greet students by name and ask how they are every time he sees them in the halls. His charisma, motivational spirit, and ability to connect with students is what led him to be elected by our class to be our faculty speaker. I am so happy to have had the opportunity to have him as a teacher. It's my great pleasure to introduce Mr. Marten.
A few months shy of 4 years ago, the summer of 2015, I was setting up my first classroom for the first time. I was spending those sweltering August days in a very swampy room 404, printing out writerly wisdom for the walls and hanging pictures of my favorite musicians. I was pretty nervous about my first school year on the other side of the classroom. I imagine that you were feeling the same way, but from your vantage point. Entering high school is a major American rite of passage, and I'm betting that you were feeling some anxiety. It might be tempting to try to figure out who was feeling more nervous right then, me or you, but it's not a competition. If it were a competition, I would crush you. Just don't even come at me. At the start of that first year, I was writing compelling new chapters in the book of human angst and self-doubt. There was a question mark the size of a small city towering on the horizon and bearing down on me like a hurricane. I just did not know what to expect when my students showed up. What will they be like? Will they be receptive? Will they be closed off? Will I be able to relate to them at all? Are teenagers like dogs? Do they smell fear? Will they be able to tell that I think that they think that I don't know what I'm doing? And then the big one, do I know what I'm doing? You must have had your version of these questions. What are the teachers like? How long will it be before I learn my way around? What happens when you're late to class? What if I'm sitting next to that kid who's blowing up my DMs? What if I'm not sitting next to that kid who's blowing up my DMs? What makes it so funny to me now to look back on those days of paralyzing anticipation is that question mark, the variable for which I could not solve, was just you. Wonderful, weird, brilliant, confounding, hilarious, embarrassingly talented you. Before college, I was a bike messenger for a couple years in Boston. That time did for me what I imagine boot camp does. It taught me perseverance and it grew me up quick. When the weather was fine, Riding a bike for 10 hours a day was the best job in the world. But when it was cold or raining, I still had to ride. Back in the day, winter used to happen to Boston. And I rode in snow more than a few times. One particularly dramatic blizzard began at around 10 a.m. and I was already downtown. It snowed all day, but I adapted by increments, so I don't remember feeling really conscious of what the snow meant until it was time to go home. By the evening commute, when I looked up from my handlebars, traffic was backed up literally for miles, and reports from the T held that the red line was packed and taking forever. So, at 6 p.m., I found myself in downtown Boston with a bicycle in a blizzard, and I lived outside of Davis Square in Somerville. What is one to do? Well, I rode home very slowly through 18 inches of snow. The ride that usually took 25 minutes took an hour and a half. When I got home, I took a picture of my bike, a newly mysterious object utterly disguised under layers of caked snow. That ride was a cold, wet, miserable pain in the ass. I did not want to do it. But what were the options? You're in Boston with a bike. You need to get to Somerville. There's 1.5 feet of snow on the ground. The trains are backed up and full. Cars aren't moving at all. What do you do? The snow doesn't care how inconvenient this is for you. The distance between South Station and Davis Square won't shrink just because you want it to. The only way to find yourself on the other side of a task is to do it. The only way to get home is to get home. After college, I spent years working in a contemplative profession, quietly helping people. It was work that I could do easily and without uncomfortable emotional growth, but more and more I missed talking about books. Changing things up is risky, but if I had not left my previous career, an uncertain move that really scared me, I never would have found myself hanging up pictures of David Bowie in an absolute sauna of a classroom in Arlington, Massachusetts 4 years ago. I would not have had all of the incredible experiences that have come of my relationship with all of you and with my colleagues, all the learning I've done, all the laughing we did in class, all the times I watched a student get it, and the incredible feeling of accomplishment that gave me, all the times I watched in dismay as a student didn't get it, and the planning I would do so that I could do better the next time, all those battle of the bands, and on and on. All of that came from going through with something that part of me was telling me to not go through with. Kind of like this speech. But once I was in that classroom, hanging up those pictures, what other option was there? It was snowing and I had to get home. When I was in high school, I operated under a hazy assumption that there's some point, probably in the mid-20s, where one just becomes an adult. A switch is flipped, keys are handed over, secret codes are revealed, and then you just know things. Well, obviously that's not how it works. Everyone's experience is different, of course, but it seems to me that adulting is largely a matter of problem solving on the fly. Not every course of action is clear, and in the moment you do the best you can with what you have. In many cases, that means doing something you might prefer to not do, or facing something the outcome of which is unknown. Everyone experiences anxiety and self-doubt. I respectfully submit to you that since that is the case, attempting to avoid those emotions is the wrong move and could result in good experiences going unhad. Instead, acknowledge that those things are there, but that they are merely part of your experience, not the entirety of it. So, my peeps, there is an unimaginable array of new experiences hurtling towards you right now. Some of them will be effortless, and some will require courage and passionate intention. Those latter may trigger anxiety and doubt. But don't make your lives small to avoid feeling those feelings. Step right into their path. Something is going to happen to you no matter what. It may as well be the thing that you suspect is going to lead to awesome. The only way to get to the other side of something is to keep going. The only way to get home is to get home. So take a deep breath, put on your super action long underwear, get on your bike, and ride into the blizzard. Congratulations, class of 2019. We're wicked proud of you.
Thank you, Mr. Marten. It's my pleasure to introduce our first honors speaker, Margaret Horgan.
Hello. Much of our senior year has been preoccupied with talk of the new school. In the hallways, did you hear we're getting a 2-story auditorium? Or after school, we're going to have 3 fields now? Or most importantly, what is going to happen to our columns? These questions are filled with excitement, with the anticipation to find out what the Arlington we're leaving behind will become. But the most interesting thing about these conversations we've been having is the way we have them. We're getting a theater. We're going to have 3 fields, our columns. The class of 2019 is leaving AHS. We will not be walking the halls of the new building. We will not be performing in the new auditorium. We will not be running on the new track. The next generations of AHS will. Discussing that fact inevitably leads to one of us seniors complaining, it's not fair. We should have gotten the new school. It's going to be so much better than ours. And objectively, it will be. The new school is fancier with more current technology and will open up fantastic new opportunities for learning that our class never had. The rebuild is a necessary endeavor if, as a community, we want to provide the best education to every future student who attends AHS. But that's not our AHS. Our AHS was half-broken bathrooms. It was waiting almost a whole class period just to sign into Old Hall. It was when the entire 4th floor smelled like spoiled milk for a week and no one knew why. It was working on group projects in dirty hallway corners. It was being on crutches and getting stuck in the school's one ancient elevator. It was stopping science class to rescue a mouse that was running across the room. Maybe it doesn't sound ideal, but every time something went wrong in the AHS building, we as students grew closer. In line for that particular day's one working bathroom stall, or for an Old Hall signing computer when all the rest were broken, we reunited with old friends we hadn't spoken to since 7th grade. When an awful new smell emerged in some part of the school, we held our noses, locked eyes, and fled. We had both incredibly stupid and incredibly brilliant ideas while collaborating with our peers on windowsills and staircases. As the elevator halted and jumped and made us 15 minutes late to class, we engaged in real conversation with the people stuck there with us. We grew fond of the critters we constantly saw on the 5th floor and eventually came to regard them as elusive and eclectic class mascots. Freshman year, given the choice, if I could have had the new AHS for high school, I probably would have said yes. But looking back at the end of our senior year, at graduation, I'm so grateful we had the school we did. Our AHS defined these past 4 years. We didn't get to have a state-of-the-art theater or 3 fields, but we did get those columns. We did get to become incredibly close to each other in dealing with the school's various issues. We did get to spend our 4 years creating friendships that will live on within us, even when this building has long since been torn down. Soon, when we revisit Arlington and see a fancy new AHS standing where we are now, remember that that is not our school. Sure, future AHS freshmen might have a lot of shiny things, but the AHS they'll have, their AHS, it won't be this. It won't be the hundreds of friendly faces I am speaking to right now. It won't be the creaky, gum-caked chairs we're sitting in. And it won't be these wonderful interactions between this exceptional class and this decidedly unexceptional building. This is our AHS, and I'm proud to say so. Thank you so much to all of you for listening, and thank you to this ugly old school for making the last 4 years unexpectedly amazing. Congratulations, class of 2019, and thank you again.
And finally, our final speaker will be our second honors speaker, Joseph Dalton.
Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for coming here today to celebrate with me my 18th birthday. This is the biggest party I've ever had. But in all seriousness, let's start by giving a big round of applause to the teachers, administration, and staff members of the Arlington Public Schools, as well as our family and friends who are here celebrating with us today. We would not have made it this far without your voices and guidance in our lives. Once again, we have to say thank you to Miss Began. I don't know where you are, but she's amazing. Thank you so much for organizing all of this and being so on top of everything. Graduation would not run without her. Thank you all. Class of 2019, we did it. My heart is so full to be here with you, and I'm incredibly honored to be speaking today. The last 4 years have been nothing short of amazing. I'm incredibly proud to call the people sitting before me my classmates, and I'm humbled to call you my friends. I feel like we've grown so much together. It's bittersweet standing here, talking about leaving the place we have spent so much time together over the past 4 years. So many of us are so heavily involved in this place that if they let us, we probably would have slept here for the night. But so many of the hours and days we spent working hard, playing hard, performing hard. We were doing what we love. As I was trying to prepare for this speech today, I got some inspiration from an unusual place. After singing at church on Sunday, I was having a conversation with the priest as I left, and he asked when I was graduating. I told him it was today, and he was elated. He said, "Enjoy the moment. Nobody ever remembers what was said, but they'll remember how you feel." When I told him I was the one who would be giving a speech, we both left feeling pretty awkward. But the more I got to thinking about what he said, the more it made sense. You may not remember the speech, you may not remember the carefully calculated wording, the poetic devices, the lyrical passages, or the metaphors. What people remember is how we make them feel. Think back to the major milestones of our lives. Do you remember the first day of kindergarten, the rush of excitement, the fear of leaving home? It was so new and enormous. Do you remember the last day of elementary school or middle school or this morning when you put your cap and gown on for the first time? Happy, sad, proud, and anxious. These are all the emotions that I'm sure have crossed your minds, as they've certainly crossed mine. I'm sure I'm not alone in saying that I'm feeling all the feels. I feel incredibly happy and fulfilled to be completing my education here at Arlington High, anxious to get away from home and branch out on my own. I'm nervous to leave the safety of the community I love so much, and I'm frightened to start all over again and learn to adapt to another new environment. But in the end, I'm most excited to be moving on to new places and to meet new people. When I look out at this amazing collection of humans in front of me, I can't help but focus on the highlight reel in my head. Track stars, a hockey team that led us to win the state championship, all-state musicians, artists who create to benefit their community, social justice warriors fighting for equality, the Stand Club's Battle of the Bands performers, Scoopermania and Relay for Life participants, academic superstars, but let's not forget the reigning champs of the KISS 108 turkey toss. Let's hear it. The list seems never ending. We are surrounded by an incredible sense of community and an unbelievable quantity of high achievers in every aspect of high school life. But if you read or watch the news, you know that more and more people feel angry and disconnected from one another. As our class goes on to school, or to work, or to travel, or to serve across the country and around the world, we are forced to confront those feelings of isolation and fear head on. We've done it before. Let's commit to bringing some of our spirit along for the ride. I have seen the heart each and every one of you carry on your sleeve as you brave the world. And I urge you, keep it there. When confronted with feelings of anger and isolation, remember the pride you felt in your community, your team, your clubs, or classes. Continue to show the world it has some serious reflection to do. And remind people to remember how they felt when they were in your shoes. Yes, there are blips. There are times when our emotions get the better of us, when something is so visceral it feels like an attack that we sometimes act out of line. But the high school we are leaving is a better place than we found it. We have worked to create a positive environment. We have created spaces for people who might otherwise not feel safe. When an event occurs that doesn't reflect how we live and who we are, we work to repair. We work to uplift and create change. We roll up our sleeves and get the job done to keep our community feeling positive and uplifted. It's our job to be remembered as the people who leave this world a bit better than we found it. As we leave one community to join another, keep being authentic. Focus on goals and aspirations, stay positive, and don't let yourself be bogged down by negativity. Come back to this feeling, to high school. Come back to the community that you grew up in, that saw so many changes and helped you grow. Show the world how you want things to be done. Be a leader, and keep pushing for what you know is right. In closing, I want to leave you with something that Ellen says at the end of each of her talk shows. Be kind to one another. It's a short phrase. It's simple, but kindness is easy, free, and makes everyone feel good. Keep this, the notion of kindness, in the center of your hearts. If you remember nothing else from this speech, remember to be positive, show grace, and stay kind. Best of luck in all you do. Congratulations to this amazing class of 2019.
Thank you, Joey, AKA Mr. Brightside. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Principal Matthew Janger and Chair of the Arlington School Committee, Leonard Carden, will present the diplomas to the class of 2019. This year, our readers will be Dean of Students, Ms. Ronica Tivnan, and Assistant Principal, Mr. Bill McCarthy.
Lucia Georgia Voges.
Neil Donald Tracy.
Isabella Catherine Dre.
Joseph Dalton.
Hikaru Koga.
Miles Shapiro.
Julia Alessi.
Devin Alice Wright.
Aiden Tierney Lavalle.
Margaret Rowan Horgan.
Daisy Gazarde Lees.
Isabel Marie Aaron.
Evelyn Rose Limos.
Haneen Abzarak.
Eleonora Leto.
Carlos Abreu.
Tiara Nicole Lewis.
Bianca Adaricio.
Tenzin Lamo.
Emmanuel Adiemi.
Elizabeth Haley Liakos.
Arya Adekari.
Teldin Fofan Lopes Lotufo.
Jacqueline Nicole Adranya.
Nathan Liu.
Taisi Akatsu.
Thomas Lurasu.
Ahmed Ali.
Luke James Mansfield.
Katya Marie Ampey.
Achan Peter Manyang.
Felix Ansel.
Chiara Martinelli.
Anna Gail Adorkian.
Kayla Diana Mayo.
Hannah Maureen Archer.
Timothy Mazzi.
Noah Scully Aarons.
Juliana Hanson McCabe.
Naomi Lenore Askenazi.
Leah Joy McDonald Mattia.
Jabbar Michael Awad.
Stephen Robert McGilvery.
Megan Rose Bannon.
Madeline Grace Lucy.
Raphael David Barglow.
Colby Ryan Madden.
Henry Ricard Barr.
Giovanna Manetti.
Lily Elise Bell.
Grace Catherine Mannion.
Emily Catherine Benoit.
Isabel Asunta Mannion.
Sylvia Billingsley.
Aiden George McDonough.
Catherine Ann Bingham.
Bridget Michael McGann.
Grace Claire Biondi.
Brendan Ryan McKenney.
Sophia McLennan Blanchett.
Eliza Lee McKissick.
Martina Bocha.
Eric David Naren McLean.
Natalia Boynanska.
Pamina Mejia.
Adam Richmond Bowler.
Jasmine Nur Mayer Jafari.
Kelly Elizabeth Brosnan.
Megan Marie Mignanelli.
Colton Brown.
Skylar Christian Mills.
Alexia Sarah Bruno.
Leonardo Finn Minetti.
Gabriella Lee Bruno.
Ava Meir.
Roger Joseph Buckley.
Jasmine Parvana Moyed Zadeh Rad.
Ian Matthew Burnett.
Stanislaw Modrzynski.
Jared Leo Cahill.
Khaled Hassan Mohidin.
Diego Alejandro Calderon.
Felix Jules Moisan.
Jesselyn Ann Callie.
Samuel Charles Monks.
Jeffrey Candell.
Abigail Ann Mooney.
Ian Cotto Carmen.
Honel Morgan.
Julian Lewis Carpenter.
Matthew Edward Morrill.
Olivia Rose Carpenter.
Michael Jonathan Morrill.
Eva Moon Casa Oliker.
Michaela Fanilo Morse.
John Edward Cassidy.
Venice Grace Mountainzona.
Annie Elizabeth Cave.
Max Myers.
Jun Hong Chen.
Colin Lee Nason.
Winston Chen.
Michaela Nadreka.
Zihong Chen.
Karena Minyan Ing.
Filippo Giovanni Caramondia.
Drew Heshmet Niles.
Elise Margaret Chisholm Matzek.
Naharika Nirola.
Gavin Cho.
Mohammed Nezar Rayan Nokrachi.
William George Clifford.
Joseph Patrick Noonan.
Benjamin Perry Clossy.
Erin O'Brien.
Terry Nunn Coe.
Patrick Stephen O'Keefe.
Alex Colty.
Kendall O'Neill.
Nicole Samantha Kolovas.
Alma Mia Olson.
Ian Robert Commons.
David Munoz Orines.
Daniel Conlon.
Ol Dora Oskefeli.
Dara Patrick Keneally.
Lila Elena Penico.
Quinlan Art Connell.
Valentina Mariana Parenti.
Sarah Connolly.
Arya Chandra Padel.
Reina Meredith Conti.
Joseph Francesco Pazia.
Lila Cooperson Buig.
Elizabeth Rose Pegram.
Sydney Ellen Corcoran.
Mairead Rosalind Helen.
Emerson Rose Costello.
Alex Pena.
Eleanor Rose Crowley.
Jules Perdicat.
Savannah Curo.
Max Perkel.
Karina Isabel Curtis.
Chance Philbin.
Sonia Charneska.
Uriah Jordan Phillip.
Andre Julian Da Silva.
Cameron Shea Phillips.
Catherine Ella Davy.
Chanasit AJ Pipitanakan.
William Davis Kay.
Lucas J. Plotkin.
Catherine Sky de Frondeville.
Maya Paris Pockros.
Christian Alexander de Frondeville.
Monica Belinda Prudencio.
Tessa Ray Deering.
Allison Nicole Puglisi.
Adam Rogerson Deck.
Timothy Patrick Quigley.
Mark Joseph DeCourcy.
Nora Quinn.
Emily Marina Didios.
Dora Rosin.
Sophia Rose DeMarco.
Alana Kathleen Raymond.
Nirja Bate Deshpande.
Caitlin Marianne Richardson.
Maya Lynn Dewey's Stone.
Samantha Beatrice Richardson.
Maria Irene DeMacus.
Nicholas Riley.
Keelan Griffin Doherty.
Calvin Emmett Robertson.
Isaiah Jude Donovan.
Peter Anthony Roach.
Leonardo Drake.
Phineas Avery Rolls.
Isaiah Durham.
Nathaniel Amari Rojas.
Sahil Lamsal Duvadi.
Milo Sebastian Rosen.
Louise Kezar Eddy.
Dennis Paul Rosner.
Eleanor Messinger Egan.
Maya Justine Rothenberg.
Casey Eshelman.
Aubrey May Alexander Rubel.
Cole Christian Fanning.
Max Samuel Rubin.
Carrie Ann Farina.
Joji Lydia Ruccio.
John Joseph Fitzgerald.
Ilan David Cyans Grant.
Molly Catherine Flynn.
Gustavo Gerandi Sahajian.
Courtney Rosemary Foley.
Nikita K. Saini.
Trina Lee Lois Forrester.
Charles Robert Sanders.
Henry Fox Jerkowitz. Joseph Sheshereg. Spencer Samuel Friedman.
Noelani Ren Schober.
Max Zimone Fritsch.
Ann Tyler Schoonmaker.
Marianne Virginia Fury.
Isabella Rose Skopetsky.
John David Gallagher.
Sarah Alea Siegel Wright.
Patrick Daniels Gallagher.
Mia Lee Seitz.
Zachary Allen Garrigus.
Faisal Sharia.
Max Garrity Janger.
Rina Yasmin Sheldon.
James George Gascoigne.
Erica Francis Siegel.
Ellen Gerberick.
Abigail Hannah Simon.
Randy Antonio Jermosin.
Jack Michael Simon.
Julian Tyne Giannacostas.
Harjo Singh.
Colin Benjamin Gilbert.
Kushi Singh.
Marina Barbara Goldman.
Triana Felicia Skouridis.
Samuel Goldstein.
Kara Nicole Smith.
Sophia Pearl Golovin.
Casey Ann Smith.
Tiago Godino Gomes.
Jacqueline Marie Smith.
Michael John Graham Green.
Lily June Snyder DeCesare.
Faith Erin Griffin.
Racer Andre Soares.
Rachel Brooke Griffin.
Lydia Samporum.
John Gabriel Aditya Guston.
Sophie Louise Spink.
Megan Elizabeth Hall.
Reese Steffen.
Ryan Douglas Hamilton.
Jason Tyler Stillerman.
Amina Hamsick.
Juliet Elizabeth Stokes.
Joel Evans Hanley.
William Patapan Sukathapapan.
Max Samuel Hannon.
Hannah Nicole Summers.
Anne Elizabeth Harris.
Samuel Bryant Swift.
Julia Elizabeth Hazen.
Kate Elise Tasker.
Aaliyah Ann Hill.
Georgia Elena Terry.
Emily Jean Hitchings.
Sophia Elizabeth Tietze.
Abigail Hodgdon.
Jordan Elizabeth Toomey.
Grace Ann Hogan.
Julia Ruth Toplin.
Reese Hogan.
Alexandra Catherine C.
Benjamin Evan Horsburgh.
Jonathan Jeffrey Tucker.
Ramisa Maliat Hussain.
Clara Rock Tully.
Paul Christopher Hauser.
Mia Magdalena Umali.
Kelly Ann Houston.
Marin Christine Vale.
Catherine Anna Hurley.
Francesco Valagusa.
Doreen Jean Marie Hurt.
Brianna Jania Varus.
Gabriel Enrique Iberonda.
Grant Mitchell Wadman.
Chloe Isabel Jackson.
Liam Thomas Walsh.
Fagina Jha.
Henry Douglas Walters.
William Robert Jennings.
Nina DiCavalio Wong.
Jiang Yutong.
Tinyan Gladys Wong.
Jennifer Lissa Jordan.
Gianna Leanne Watson.
Jelani Jason Joshua.
Anthony Joseph Weber.
Brett Bronwyn Common.
Arthur Vey.
Nicholas Harry Corrales.
Lucas William Wessel.
Jacqueline Lee Keenan.
Jason Samuel White.
Grace Kelly.
Lauren Ann White.
Megan Rose Kerr.
Barry Robert Whitney.
Tamara Kanjan.
Andrew John Wilson.
Ethan Kaitin.
Colin Isaiah Wing.
Miyu Kichuchi.
Stephen Sebastian Winkler.
Chan Kim.
Layla Antonina Woolery.
Gil Kim.
Ivo Anthony Wortman.
Lena Kipp.
Minshan Maxine Shu.
Claire Elizabeth Kitzmiller.
Somya Yelas Warapu.
Thomas Matthew Kitzmiller.
Gabriel Yidiu.
Helena Joanna Kordasheviets.
Seijiro Yoshihara.
Sophie Belinda Orozco Koretsky.
Emma Grace Young.
Jane Langerman Krausman.
Maya Giovanna Zecchio.
Catherine Jane Kurtz.
Jamila Sofia Zanobetti Foreman.
Antonio James Laosa.
Zikong Zhang.
Rima Lal.
Yuhan Yang.
Nicholas Heichler LaMonica. Nicholas David LaRoche.
restless.
Next, Class President Neil Tracy will present the class gift and conclude the graduation exercises for Arlington High School's class of 2019.
At this time, I am proud to announce that the class of 2019 will set up a fund to work with the architects and the Memorials and Art Committee for the new building to create a depiction and commemoration of the current high school and its history in the new high school. We hope that even though our building may change, this gift serves as a reminder of the larger legacy and history that students at AHS are a part of. I now invite you all to move your tassels from the right to the left. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to present Arlington High School's class of 2019.